Okay, hello everyone. This is part 2 of portraits. We're doing expressions today. So when we're drawing faces, last week we did a pretty neutral expression. So if you remember, it was something like this, where there's no expression, not really much of an emotion visible. But today we're going to do several quick drawings of different faces, as you can see here. And then I'll zoom in for each of the portraits. Okay, so for the people just coming in, we are doing another round of faces. You'll just need your pencil, paper, and eraser. That's all you need. Yeah, I'm gonna move this light out of the way. Hopefully that makes it a little bit better. Okay, so we are doing multiple drawings today. So if you have a sketchbook, try to do smaller drawings today, or you can take up multiple sheets. But we're doing more than one. That's why there's seven people. Let's try to get through all of them because they all have a different expression, and I want to target those shapes. So yeah, let's get started. We're going to start first with this face on the top left corner here. So let me just move it. I'll come back and give you the full picture later, but if you want to take a picture now, do it now because I'm going to start moving things.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so if you ever need the picture again, just let me know and I can move it back for you. All right, let's get started. Oh, that's big. Okay, we're going to do many small drawings of the expression. So when you're drawing expressions, it's a little bit more than just drawing a face. You want to look for the feeling as well as how the shapes are stretching or squashing. So with your pencil, you're just going to start drawing your rough outline. So for this person, it's more of an oval shape. And you don't want to focus too much on the details. Once again, just the overall shape of the main features. So number one, look for the eyebrows. Look how it's curved and arching at the corners. And look at the eyelids here, and it's caving in a little bit. And there's also that smile crease underneath the eyeball. Some smile lines on the side, and the mouth is wide open, and it will capture all of these in a kind of almost like a caricature. So if you've done caricature before with, I think Peyton's showing you guys how to do expressions. So I'm going to start really quickly. Notice how I'm moving quickly, not like last time where we spent a lot of time on one part. I'm going to go in and add a few things for myself. I'm going to draw a line for the eyes, and then a line going down for the middle of the face. So make your drawings pretty small. If you want to take up the whole page, that is okay too, but these are supposed to be quick drawings, gestural drawings. Okay, I'm going to start with the outline of the hair actually this time. So I'm just capturing the silhouette of that hair. Comes down to the shoulders. And just roughly, no matter what, don't really stop too long to look at these. You want to capture the essence. And that is only done best if you are not spending too much time thinking about what you're looking at. For the gestural drawings, you can start to sketch So shading, not just lines today. You can actually go ahead and color things in as you see fit. As soon as you feel like it's a good time to start adding value or shading, you can start. So whenever it feels like it's the right time. I'm actually using this shading to carve out the sides of the face. So you see here how it curves and then dips just a little bit in, so it's almost like pushing inward. Yeah, so capture that with your shading as well. And then it rounds out to the cheekbones, and then down here it's more of just like a circular shape. The chin is quite wide. Today we're not looking for accuracy. We're looking for expression. So have you seen those people on the side of the road who do really quick drawings of people? That's kind of what we're going for today. Those are called caricatures. And don't forget to block out where the neck is. So just roughly down here. Let's see, how long are we going to take on each one? We have 7 portraits, so let's say about 15 for each. So we're moving pretty fast here. We have 7 more minutes. Okay, let's go. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch in the eyebrows. So the main features of the face, you can divide it into simple shapes. We have the eye sockets, so that's the holes that go where the eyeballs go in. And then we have the nose. You can almost think of as a triangle. And then the general mouth area, which you can also just use as an oval. Try to think of these shapes when you're drawing your person. Sometimes the eyes follow the curve of the eyebrows. So for this person's eyes, they go in on both ends. Notice how it's really dark in the corner, and also the shadow comes out here as well. So these are called tension points in the drawing, where things are converging into one corner. And then what makes a person look like they're smiling is actually the under eye. So I'm erasing those sketch lines. And under the eyes, you see this? We can call this the under eye bag. So just lightly, it's not really a line. It's more of just like a shadow. And don't forget to draw the iris. Which is just kind of a circle with another circle on the inside, and then you can leave a little bit of that white space for the highlight. Erasing the construction lines. I'm just going to demarcate the bottom of the nose. So the two nostrils I do need to make note of. It actually is quite high up in the middle of the face. So if you take a line and divide it in half, that's not what I wanted to do, but if you take a line and divide it by half, you'll get to the nose. So the nose is actually quite high up. I'm doing two upside down lines for the nose, and then drawing out the sides of the nostrils. Doesn't need to be quite exact. Basically, you're just connecting two beams. Three up and two pointing down. And then for my nose, it's about as wide as the two corners of the eyes. So notice how it almost lines up perfectly with the corners of the eyes. That's how wide the nose should be. Okay, and then now the most important part of this person's face is actually the smile area. So you see how these cheeks, the smile is pulling the flesh upwards into those two corners. It's very important that we capture these tension points. So it's being pulled. So we see lots of shadows. I'm going to draw the mouth first, actually. It's quite a straight line for the top lip. You really want to mimic that feeling of the mouth being stretched wide open to show a big, wide smile. I would even make it a little bit wider, to be honest, because if you notice, this corner almost hits the middle of the eye. So very, very wide smile. And as you're drawing the mouth, remember to shade. So add a little bit of tone to the mouth. It's darker around the bottom here. And then there's a strip of that. There's a bevel, which is where the highlight hits the top of the lip and it looks brighter than the bottom half. Just a very subtle thing, but it would be nice if you could include that as well. There's also a little shadow underneath here. Be careful if you are drawing this shadow to not make it as dark as the lips, because you're going to look like you have two lips. So just a light undershadow right there. And of course, we cannot forget the smile lines on the side over here. It's kind of just like an S shape. It curves up to hug the cheek. So there's almost like a ball here. So curves to follow the ball, and the curves down to match the face or the smile. So there's a ball there and it's curving around, and then now it's curving around down there. So it's almost like a S shape, backwards S. Starting from the nose, wrapping around the cheek, and then down to the side of the mouth. And this is a very soft edge shadow. There are no harsh lines. So make your shading kind of fuzzy, not too sharp. Okay, and we are done with the first one. I'll leave this picture up a little bit for one more minute, and then we gotta move to the next one. So I know some of you may not be ready yet, but we're going to try and see how many portraits we can draw today. Okay, are you ready to move to the next one? Yes. Okay, I'll slowly change it. All right, our next one is more of a squish motion. So the previous photo where the features were stretching to the corners, outside corners of the face, now the features are coming into the center. So we're kind of learning about animation as well a little bit. These are huge concepts in animation, squash and stretch. So it's very squashed. So same with this one, we're going to start with our base, which is just going to be a circle or an oval. This one's kind of tilted to the right. And this, what I'm doing every time I do this, I'm basically drawing the skull, the main cranium, And then I'm leaving a bit of space for the chin. So the chin actually comes down here. And the middle line goes down like that. And then don't forget to draw the center line for the eyes. Okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start carving out the main shapes, kind of just going with whatever. If you have your own process, please follow that. I'm just showing you one way of going about portraiture. Okay, I'm going to start actually with the center of the face. All of these features congregated in the middle because the focus of this portrait is actually the center. So this is kind of the most important point. I almost think there's a string pulling all the elements down into one corner. So capture the wrinkle of the nose and then the eyebrows coming in. And there's kind of a little bit of an arch here. So it's like a kind of like the wings of a bird, if you think about it. Like that. And then also here. They're quite close together as well. And then moving down, we have the eyes, which are scrunched close together. So essentially, it's just a line. And it's not exactly a flat line, it's more like a boat shaped, a really long boat. Because everything's so squished together, you just draw a couple of lines and then we can call it a day. Because as long as you have the tension point and all the lines are going towards that center, the drawing will make sense. So there's that huge prominent wrinkle. This is the main one that we see. And it's quite defined, so you can use a pretty sharp line. Okay, and also the nose is all scrunched up as well, so it's actually moving higher, or it looks like it's higher than the middle line here. I'm going to put it roughly there. Okay, and then now moving on downwards, we need to draw the smile line, or not really the smile line, but the cheek crease, which starts from the nose. And same as earlier, it kind of comes down, but not as much because this person's not smiling, more of a grimace, like a frown kind of expression. So it doesn't go all the way down like this one. There's quite a clear line here, however, so make sure you also capture that. The same with the mouth. It's kind of just like one straight line, honestly, but it does have a slight curve to it. If you don't know which way it's curving, it is curving down a little bit, like a U shape. But not too much, or else you'll make him look like he's smiling. He's not. And it also helps if you're making the expression yourself as well. So I always, whenever I'm drawing an expression, I try to make the face myself so I can feel those tension points. And there's a little bit of a beard or mustache, so you can also add that for character. Starting to erase some of those lines because we don't need them anymore. Now I'm going to sketch the side of the face and wrap around my features. It's quite a round. It's just like a soft edge. And then we have kind of a square-ish jaw. I need to move my jaw a little bit upwards. Like that. And then basically just kind of connect the dots. Don't forget the ears as well. I'm just shading in the hair. don't forget the beard. It's around usually darker around the edges and a little bit lighter as you get further up. Yeah, so this one's also basically done. You can take these last 2 minutes to finish up whatever you need to finish up. So draw the last thing, and then we're gonna rush on to the next one. Okay, and then now let's move on to our third one. So this is quite an interesting one because now we have an angle to the face. So it's not looking forward, it's actually looking sideways. It's actually quite easy to draw out the 3/4 view as long as you know what the general shapes of the face are. Okay, so let's start again with the circle for your skull. So go ahead and start sketching. And then now what's happening here is the middle line is no longer straight. It has curved to the edge. So if you think of it as a football, you need the line look straight here. But when you move it to the side now, it's tilted a little bit. Same thing with the face. Oh, here it is. Right, so that middle line is going to be tilted to the left or to the right, and also tilted upwards a little bit. You see how it's not perfectly straight? We can see some of that jawline. That means she's tilting her head back just a little bit. All right, so draw your construction lines if they help you. And then also the line for the eye. Okay, and then the next thing that you're going to do is actually draw the side of the face, so the silhouette. This gives you a frame to work with. So capture this cheek, and it comes down to the chin, and we have a drastic little corner cut here. So make sure you capture that. Actually quite inwards. Notice how this line is actually cutting into the face. So we got to make sure that it's something like that. You can even dramatize it a little bit. And the chin is just a little ball on the bottom. So carve out the cheeks that we just did. Comes down to the chin. The chin juts out like that, and it points back inwards. We got to find the line for the ear. Let's call it this one. And then the jawline. Everything will connect together. It doesn't go up here, but you can also add a little bit of shadow. The jaw, see, it goes down and it curves up just a tiny bit. It's very subtle. There's that little shadow under there. Just gonna make the head a little bit bigger. To accommodate for the hair. And I've moved the eye line down just a little bit too. I feel like it was a little too high. Okay, I'm going to start with the nose. Once again, it is one of the central features. So there's that little furrow here, if you can see. That's the skin folding because she's scrunching her brows together. That's the word. And that comes down. Draw the nostril. Once you've done the nose, we're going to bring the line down to the mouth. So the mouth is also interesting because it's almost like a smile if you cover that part. Then it becomes a frown because of the edge goes down. So it's just good, interesting to note that. See the slant here? That'll help you find the corner of the mouth. So the nose and the mouth, they always connect with this line. And the bottom lip actually comes out a little bit more. It's almost touching the edge of the face here. See how much it comes out? So don't be afraid to exaggerate that. It's almost like a pout. And this bottom line here, you see that subtle shadow at the very bottom of this lip here? That's what I've done with this line. So it just pulls the mouth outward a little bit. And then also remember to pull the lips, like the corner of the mouth, a little bit downward, but not too much. And add a little bit of shading just in the corner. And while we're here, I'm just going to connect the two shadows together to form that line. There's also this dimple here, which is just the little hole in the flesh. It's almost like a little belly button. Okay, and whenever you're ready, you can move back up to the top of the face. And let's draw in the eyes and the eyebrows. So it's good that we have the nose already in here, because then we can use it as a reference point. I'm going to draw the outside eye first. So this eye. But before we do that, I'm going to make sure that I have enough space on the outside corner. And I think I do. It just looks quite small. Drop that. The curve of the eyelid, which is just this, wrapping around the eye a little bit rounder. There we go. And then now I'm going to draw the eye, which is kind of just an almond shape. Doesn't go all the way to the edge. So just a second, I'm going to zoom in here. You can see the eye doesn't go to the edge of the face. So when you're drawing the eye, you don't want it to hit the outside corner, because then the eyeball is basically sticking out. That'll look really weird, almost like a bug. So this layer is actually just the skin, the fat that's wrapping around the eyeball. So the eye, as you can see, never exceeds that skin line. So the eye will be wrapped within that corner. Okay, back to the face. Okay, and then now I'm going to draw the eyebrow on top of that. Which is kind of just a block of color. There's not much going on. And then we'll draw the other eyebrow. So this one's kind of bushy. But now you can see there's a shadow here and it thins out a lot when it gets to the edges. And they're actually quite close together. And on the same height, except this one's a little bit taller than that one. You see? Yeah. Okay, and then for the other eye, it's just a little bit above my original line here. As you can see, the two eyes are not on the same line horizontally. So that eye is a little bit lower, and then this eye is a little bit higher. So there's just a very, very subtle distance. You can think of it as a slant. You connected all the corners on one line. That's what you would get. It's almost like a curve wrapping around the front of the face. So one thing you can do if you're not sure where to put the eyes, to put little dots. So you can see little dots to help you first find the position. But once again, we're not focusing too much on accuracy. Just get the general feeling right. So the person's eyes are kind of squinted because they're frowning, so that the muscles of the face are squishing everything together. So that's why they're not as open as, for example, this one over here. So when you're drawing this eye, notice that there are a couple things going on. First, you have the main line going across, and then you also have a little bit of that other eyelid poking out from here. So that's the inner eyelid. Let me see if I can draw it to show you. So here's one line. And then actually it breaks off, it branches off and creates another line up here. So that's what this is. And then underneath, it just wraps around like that. And there's not a lot of eye white, as you can see. You can't see lots of white spaces in there. So we're going to just shade, and magically the eye will fill out itself. There's also that under eye bag here, so just shade a little bit of that. It's almost like a little shadow. This helps create the effect that she's squinting. Or that something's happening. You can see here there's that very subtle line showing that the muscles are being pushed upwards to show some sort of, I guess you would call this agony. And don't forget about the rest of the face as well. I'm going to move a little bit quicker now and just draw in the hair. You may think the hair doesn't add too much personality, but it actually does, depending on how smooth or how much movement you have. Your character will look different. The ears kind of hidden a little bit under the hair. And when I'm drawing the hair, I think of it as in chunks. So there's one chunk here of the hair underneath, just on the side of the face. And then there's this hair coming from the top and wrapping around, almost like a blanket. So this part goes under that because it's being tucked behind the ear. And this hair is popping out above. You can leave that little bit of highlight at the top by darkening the hair around it. So when you get to the other side, so this part of the hair, it's just kind of like round, mountainous shapes. But don't draw too many because it'll start to look like curls. Just draw maybe 3 or 4. And then underneath that, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow under the cheeks here. See, just this little area. It's very fuzzy, so you don't want a sharp outline. I would just start in the middle and shade it. This way it pulls the face downwards a little bit to further emphasize that frown. Also, don't forget the shadow under the chin. And also the shadow underneath the jaw. So that's the neck shadow. Okay, and then we're basically done this portrait. I'm going to keep this picture up again for 2 more minutes. And then I think we're moving on to our final one. So yeah, there's 30 more minutes left. We're going to spend a bit more time on the last one. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the last one. So please finish up the last thing you're drawing. Okay, we can zoom out now. For our last one, let's pick one. One that we haven't done yet. I think the open mouth one will be an interesting one. I think it'll be quite funny. So let's do this one for our last drawing of the day. So let me move this a little bit. Okay, we're going to do it here. For this one, you can take a little bit longer because we do have about 20, 25. So let's spend some time and really analyze the shapes of this feature. Okay, so for this one, the difference is that the mouth is open and it's tilted once again at a different angle, but we've already done that. For this one, we will focus on stretching. So kind of like what we did with this one. This one went outwards in all directions. It feels like it's very upwards because of so many shapes being pointing upwards. But down here, everything is kind of stretching up, like up and down. Okay, let's begin. So I'm going to just sketch the skull. Very rough shape, but it'll have to do. Maybe a little bit bigger, I feel like. And then I'm going to draw the bottom line for the chin. Just be roughly about there. And then draw your construction lines. This is the eye line. Just going to draw a rough shape or placeholder for the ears. This way I know where my head is supposed to end. This also helps me find where the jaw ends. Okay, once you have your foundation, for these 3/4 views where it's slightly looking to the left or right, I always start with the edge of the face. I don't know why, but I feel like it helps me with placement. Draw this curve, it goes down. We have quite a long jaw. It's almost cutting into the neck. Can't even see where the neck begins. Somewhere like that. And then if we're drawing the neck, we might as well draw the other side as well. For these drawings, it's always best to go fast if you want a more clear expression or a focus on the expression. That's why we call them gestural. So earlier I just put in where I wanted the socket corner of the eye. So this is once again a prominent feature. It's also the start of the nose, which is once again the center of the face. Okay, and then we're going to draw the nose. If you took a line and divided it, you can see the nose is a little bit higher then the bottom of the ear. So that means we know that the face has been tilted a little bit upwards. Goes up a little bit. That's where the bottom of the nose will be. Carve out the side of the nose. So the nose is kind of just corner dips in. This is the top of the nose. And then for this nose, we have a little bit of a tipped up corner, or the tip actually goes up a little bit. It's like that. And then the nostrils is just a short black line. And then we always shade the bottom of the nose if it's tipping up. And this is a shadow, not a nostril. Okay, so do the same thing over here. All right, and then once you've done the nose, you can move to either the eyebrows or you can start drawing the bottom of the mouth. That's really up to you. You can almost think of the face as, for this one, as divided into a couple different sections. Like that. Or it's more of like an X. You can think of the face in these different sections to help you better place and better proportion. I'm going to start with the eyebrows. It's kind of curved upwards and also disappears on the side of the head. So you can draw your eyebrows to the edge. For this one, it starts a little bit on top of the nostril, and then it ends roughly here. Okay, so draw your eyebrows. Now I'm actually going to erase the side a little bit there because I made it too caving inwards to actually be able to fit the eyeball. This part is actually a little bit more rounded outwards than I originally put it. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but now we have a little bit more space to work with. Okay, and then now I'm going to start first erase these lines a little bit, the ones that we don't need to use. Slightly. You can still see them, that's fine. Okay, now envision the eyes. I'm going to start with this one as well. And once again, the eye doesn't go to the edge. It's nicely encased by the eyelid. So there's two upper lines and then one that wraps around. It's almost like a check mark at the bottom there. A very round upper arch like a rainbow. And this is the eyelid crease. And then the eyeball sits roughly here, and then all that skin at the bottom, it wraps around and goes back up. Comes again, the head is a little bit tilted upwards, like a little bit like this. So the flesh under the bottom of the eye will curve up a little bit. And then draw the iris pretty small because we want to show this as an expression of surprise. Leave a little bit of highlight and then call it a day. Of course, we cannot forget about the other eye. To find out where the corner of that eye starts, you can compare and contrast once again using your pencil or ruler, or even just looking at it. For this one, they actually line up on the same line, as you can see, but the tops of the eye don't. So this eye is a little bit taller than the other one, although they start on the same height. It's almost like the eyeball is popping out. Drawing the iris, make sure that they are looking in the same place. Then fill it in, except leaving a little bit of that white dot for a highlight. It's quite creepy, actually. So I'm going to shade in the eyeball. So the eyeballs are, although they're white, they also have a shadow as well. So you see this shadow? It's just slightly there. There's also this huge shadow under the eyebrow and above the eye. But you see that little bit of white bit at the top that starts here and then it continues along the brow ridge. So that means the shadow doesn't start until a little bit below the eyebrow. So you don't want to start it up here, but rather start it a little bit below. And it'll get darker as you get closer to that crease. So when you're shading, once again, hold your pencil on the side to get a softer line. And if you do need to get in the details, just hold it back normally, and then you'll get that sharp line. Don't forget about the shadows underneath the eye as well. That little corner. That's basically, I think the skin is being pulled to the point that it's causing a crease that wasn't originally there. Okay, and when you're done with the eye, we can kind of move downwards to the mouth, which is the main focal point. Okay, so I know it is very long, but how long is it actually? So if we take a measure, is there anything that can match? Oh, hold on. So if it's about this wide, and if I move it upwards, oh, it's about the same height as the nose to the top of the outside eye. However, because we want to exaggerate the features, you can totally make it longer than it actually is. You can draw it how you see it. So I'm going to draw the top of the mouth. Actually, this is the inner corner. So there are a couple points that is happening here, but you just want to focus on the mouth area like that. So far, it's hard to get a little, it's easy to get confused because it's not just one line for the mouth. And don't forget the teeth. Kind of make it not even. There's also that inner cheek here where the tongue is meeting the side of the mouth. Color in the darkest areas, and then now you see the mouth coming all together. Just adding a little bit of shadow on the inside to show that the mouth is going inwards. So you can also see the bottom teeth just a little bit. Okay, and then shade in the rest with a light medium gray. And the tongue, it does have a dark, like it caves down in the middle. So I'm just adding a little bit of that shadow to show the dimension. So draw the inside of the mouth first, and then you can start working on the lips, which is the outside. Mostly just on this side, and then also down here a little bit. You can see there's a huge little shadow. That's basically the teeth and the jaw on the inside creating a shadow. Okay, and then now don't forget about the crease lines. Doesn't go all the way down, but it is quite long. Get to give him his mustache. There's just a little bit of that shadow. Now I'm just carving out just a little bit of that on the chin, but it's covered by the skin, so we can't see it that much. So I've added 2 lines, so it's almost like a double chin. Okay, and the next step is really much, it's just the hair. So currently, you don't have to draw the hair, but if you want to, here's how you do it. So start from the top, I guess. And then it's like it's almost like a sharp, I don't know what to call that. Some sort of cap. And then you have the sideburns, which actually come down quite a bit towards the eyebrows over here. And we do have a little bit of like the neck, it has to connect. It's almost on the same line. So it's like a boxy edge. I'm leaving the top white because of that highlight. Draw some little wispy bits on the far end. It's darkest near the roots. Just going to add a little bit more shadow, and I think we're going to be done. I'm choosing to leave the ear empty because it doesn't make too much of a difference anyways. All right, and we are done for today. I'll keep this up for a little bit longer in case you want to look at it. But if anybody is done, they're free to share.